Hey guys, welcome back to Firewood on the Hill. My name is Matt. Today we have another upgrade for this YHT log processor. This upgrade is much needed since I'm in the south and it gets super hot. We are installing a hydraulic oil cooler today, guys. This machine doesn't come with an oil cooler. I would recommend an oil cooler on every machine that you use, especially here in the south. The reason they say they could go without a oil cooler is because they use such heavyweight oil. It is very heavy. It's AW68. So when it's cold, it takes a lot to get this thing running quickly. It's got to take a while to warm up. What this kit consists of is the oil cooler. It's got an on and off switch. It is not temperature controlled, so it's just on or off. It comes with the hoses needed to hook it up to the machine like it is. This is a 5-foot hose. This is a 4-foot hose. It comes with 4 mounting bolts that you're going to mount to this plate. And this plate bolts up right here where the battery sits. So long story short, I took my battery box off because when I went to shut this door, one of the metal connections hit right here and you can see melted the battery. So I did away with this box, but this box just sits up there. You can see the bolt holes right here and right here, and that's what bolts under that. Alright, let's go get these hoses out of my way here. Pick this guy up. Okay. And there's the second hole. Alright. Alright, that's hooked up. I just gotta scoot my battery back in. I guess we'll put it right there between the bolts. Next, we bolt on the oil cooler. I'll unhook this. Run it on the inside here. Okay. Alright guys, so what I found out about these lines is all the machines are kind of set up in their own way. They should all be standardized, but they're not, because there's not a wrong way to set it up, so they just kind of do what they want. But what I had to do is I had to unhook this hose and run this hose through here to get this to set right, because I don't want any pressure against the hose or anything like that. For this hose right here, I'm just going to have to unscrew that a bit, twist it so it goes underneath. The oil cooler will be good there. And then for this hose right here, I just had to unhook it and run the hose behind the oil cooler here and put it back together. And now we're all set up, ready to go. I just gotta throw some bolts in it. But what I would do is I would set all this up before you put any oil or tighten these all down or whatever. Just make it work before you start tightening everything up. So now let's put the bolts in. I don't know why they made these bolts so long. I'm gonna tighten those down. All right, the box and the mount is all bolted down good. Now it's time to take off the battery leads and hook up the switch. All right, so if you look down here, we're all wired up to the battery. I have them pushed down so I can put my cap back on. Keep all the water and stuff out, so that's good. The switch is right here. I'll probably mount it somewhere. I don't know where yet, but click it on. All right, so all the easy stuff done. Now it's time to run these lines. So the short hose, which is I'm gonna call the 4-foot hose, goes on this side, and then the 5-foot hose goes on this side. The short hose goes down into the tank right here. Mine's hooked up on the right side one. Some of them are hooked up on this left side one. But all this hose does is it runs from here and goes right through here. So I'm going to unscrew this. I'm also going to unscrew this and twist this the other way, because I did move this around last time just to give me more line for the conveyor. But because this has a straight end, I'm going to have to twist this guy back around, which is no big deal. I'll just unscrew that, twist around, take that one off, take this one off, and then hook up the 2 hoses. Of course, I don't have any wrenches big enough for this, so I'm just going to use some chain locks here. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Here we go. We'll see how much fluid I lose here. Before I do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and run these hoses where I want them. That way, if it really starts pouring, I can hook it all up. Also, I recommend keeping the caps on these ends so you don't get a bunch of freaking dirt in them, because I've already done that. So I have this right here. If I twist this away, I should be all right. That's the caps I'm talking about right there. And this hose is going into the tank. So I just gotta put this one right through here. Alright, so let's loosen this one as well, because we gotta spin this one. Okay. Perfect. Nothing really leaking there. So now, all right, so then I can spin this hose around like I want it. I'm just gonna have to loosen the hose that's connected to the motor so I can do a little bit of spinning. All right, so we unhooked this hose, which was connected to this side right here. This right here is the new hose that runs to the farthest point on the old cooler. It's the 5-foot cord. Now the next part to do is you got to run this hose all the way to the back there. You can see it's connected to the tank. This is just a return line. We have to unscrew that return line, take this whole hose out, and then the hose is closest right here, the 4-foot hose, will run through here and hook up into the tank. So the best way I found to get to this hose is through the bottom here. See how there's 2 hoses right here? Your hose could be hooked up to either one of these. It really doesn't matter, but mine is the furthest one. I've already broke it loose. I'm gonna unscrew it and screw this in, and I should be all done. All right, guys, we're all hooked up. You can see down there. Both those are connected. We're connected right here for this. What I did for the hose going to the tank is I unhooked this right here and ran this line behind this metal to hold this in because it was out pretty far. But this line right here goes behind here and goes down there to connect. This line right here, I ran all the way down behind the other lines and came up on this back side and hooked up right there. Really, really simple, guys. This is the hose that came out, guys. So I don't need this anymore. We're all done other than adding some fluid. I'm gonna add probably a gallon, maybe 2 there, just to make up for the emptiness in that, and we're all set. I have to say, guys, not much spillage at all. Really nothing came out of this hose up here. I did have a slow drip. I mean, it was more than a drip, but it wasn't crazy amount of fluid coming out. It was no big deal. You can see right there, it's pretty much all lost. It wasn't much at all. But here's where we're at right now, guys, on fluid level. So I'm gonna start it up, run it, and just see how much fluid it takes out of the tank to fill this oil cooler up. I really don't know how many gallons or if this is even a gallon or not. Plus you gotta account the hoses as well. That's gonna hold oil. But we'll start her up and check for leaks, and then we'll add some fluid. No leak there. No leak there. No leak there. No leak there. So it did take some oil out. Fluid in here. I don't know if this is going to hold or not. We're about to find out. We'll do. Okay. We went a little bit higher than what was before, just in case. Here's the finished product, guys. Honestly, it looks factory. We hid the hoses so they're not in the way. Actually, this switch would sit here just nicely. Another cool thing about this is a heat exchanger on its own without the fan, so it should keep it cool regardless of turning the fan on or not. But that fan is going to help tremendously. So that wraps up another mod on this YHT 45. Guys, we're getting this thing dialed in, and I can't be more happy. This oil cooler is coming in at the right time because it's hot as Hades out here. I'm sweating so bad. But anyways, guys, this is a add-on that Randy sells. Randy's the guy who sells these processors and other types of equipment that I'm using. So this hydraulic cooler kit comes with the hydraulic cooler, with the fan, and the switch, and the 2 hoses, and the bolts for $800 plus shipping. So not too bad to keep your equipment cool, guys, because there's nothing worse for this stuff than heat. That heat messes up your seals and you've got leaks everywhere. It also, if it's got it at a good cool temperature, it runs better. So all in all, it's a huge upgrade for a cheap processor. Again, guys, they call it a cheap processor because they cut corners, hence an oil cooler. They cut a corner on that. They recommend using a thicker hydraulic oil to help compensate that, but that's the reason why this thing was so cheap to begin with, guys. It's, you know, they cut corners to cut price. And the fact that I can find these items that I need, that I feel are necessary, I don't feel I'm overpaying for this processor when I can get all these things way cheaper than if it was included on the processor selling it at the factory. It doesn't matter what manufacturer you go to, they upsell you on all these add-ons, and a lot of times they upsell you way more than what they're actually worth, because they get you by, hey, I have your processor here, or I have your splitter here for a couple extra $100 I can put on, you don't have to worry about it. And I did the same thing with my wood fridge. I saw the oil cooler, I was like, I want it, add it, I pay the money. So this gives you an option to add it on after the fact. It's honestly stupid not to have an oil cooler on a processor, but some people can get away with it with their climate here in North Carolina. We can't. It gets so hot. So anyways, guys, I hope you like these mods. I got more coming. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.